This is Sexy as Sin, written by W. Winters, narrated by James Kavanaugh and Natalie Eaton. Prologue. Cat. If I'd known what was going to happen, I would have begged him not to go. I would have even fought him to keep us from walking through those doors. That's the thing about fate, though. You're never given a heads up. But I should have known because everything was just right. When everything is perfect, it's eventually all going to crumble, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it. 4 years ago. As my heels click against the cement stairs and I walk into the garage, I note that it feels like home. I know every square inch of this place. I've practically grown up inside of these 4 walls. With an arm wrapped around my waist and the bite of the night chill outside waning, all I can do is let a smile slip into place. Everything is familiar, from the smell of the oil that's ever present to all the mechanic tools hung neatly on the walls. Any item you could ever need to repair or build a motorcycle is here. Hell, I don't care in the least about the work that's done here, yet I bet I could name most of the tools just from Syl asking me to hand them to him over the years. At a glance, I could tell if any of them were out of order. That's how much time I've spent here. Hours and days and years. Basically my whole life. It may seem strange to other people, but the rumble of bikes paired with the loud laughter and hollering that come with the men who are always here is my kind of heaven. I bet ordinary people feel like this when they walk into a cozy living room. My leather jacket presses against Cillian's leathers with a faint squeak as we squeeze by the narrow opening to the rest of the 3-story building. The best part by far is holding Cillian's hand, just like I've done for years. His fingers loop easily through mine like we're meant to be together. We are meant to be together. I can't remember a time when I didn't have a crush on him. In high school, we started dating with approval from both of our fathers. My heart warms to think about him as my high school sweetheart. My father said it would make sense. His father said it was a business decision done right. Mob connections from my father, MC from his. I'm head over heels for the boy I've always been told I'm meant to be with. Now that we're older, it's only gotten more intense. An hour ago, we were in his bed, with his hard body pressed against mine and a cold sweat slipping across my sensitized skin. I cried out his name, and he murmured his love for me in the crook of my neck. Cillian's tall, with hard but lean muscles that work against me. I just barely come up to his shoulders. I don't think anyone could imagine a man like him saying the sweet things he does to me when he comes, whispering his adoration and promises for our future. It's like he's showing me some secret part of him that no one else will ever get to see. I hold that secret close while we walk into the garage together. He pulls me tighter as we move through the door to the staircase at the side of the building. One thing everyone does know. He's my ride or die, and I'm his, and we're both protected in every way imaginable. With the rec room on the 2nd floor only a threshold away, he bends down and kisses me. "I wish I could take you back to bed," he murmurs, his voice throaty and laced with sin and sex appeal. A shiver runs through my body and travels lower, bringing a blush to my cheeks. "You should," I tease him, nipping his bottom lip. I'd fuck him all night every night. On more than one occasion, we fooled around till dawn. Nothing is better. He knows my body, every inch of it and every secret. Cillian's my first, and I don't want any other men. "You want to turn back then and not go to Sunday dinner?" "Yeah," I say, and capture my bottom lip between my teeth before adding playfully, "Let's go before anyone sees us." Tugging on his hand is useless, and I already know it's not going to happen. Every Sunday, we have to be here for dinner. No exceptions. After all, it's both a family and MC occasion. He laughs, and with his gaze lifting past me to the threshold, he seems to consider it. The rough pad of his thumb glides along the stubble on his chin before he looks back down at me, a wanting look I know well in his light blue gaze. "They'd wonder where we went. They'd talk about us." "Who cares?" I slip my arms under his leathers and tug at the fabric, making my desire known as I slide my fingers up his back. They already talk about us. If our fathers weren't in charge, the whispers would be heard far more often. I don't care what people say. I only want Cillian. Everything I dreamed of in high school is right there in his eyes. Our whole future.
After dinner, I promise, he tells me with a handsome but cocky grin. I'll take you back to bed after dinner.
The tip of my nose nudges against his as I let out a small moan of protest. It's nearly a mewl of want. Sill's deep groan as he backs me up to the wall and lowers his lips to mine forces a simper to my lips that grows into a full-blown smile as he kisses down my neck. His rough stubble and roaming hands are everything I want and need. Just as my head falls back and my breathing turns heavy, Sill backs away and then cracks a smirk at my mouth opening in protest and disbelief. He chuckles at me, and I smack his chest.
After dinner, Hellcat.
Swatting my ass, he keeps me moving, and I don't miss a beat, getting on my tiptoes to nip his lower lip. The guys are already gathering in the rec room, and someone must catch a glimpse of us because they call out for Sill. A low groan of annoyance leaves me, and Cillian gives me a rough chuckle in response. It's like one big family, and I love that too. One big happy family, with Cillian's dad in charge, after mine handed him a business deal he couldn't refuse. I don't know exactly what they do, and if I'm honest, I don't want to. Sill says not to worry. My father tells me to do as I'm told and not ask questions. All in all, I'm aware they go out on runs for weeks at a time. When they leave, Sill is anxious and calls me every night. When they come home, he can't keep his hands off me. He's loyal to me, and all Sill's ever asked for is for me to stay loyal to him, to trust him and not to worry. I'll take that response over my father's any day. There's already a crowd in the rec room, the chatter intensifying as we walk in and Reed, his best friend, greets us with the tip of his chin, a smile on his face. He looks like the cat that ate the canary, and I wonder what he knows. My mind slips back to what I thought Sill said last night. I could have sworn he mentioned marriage. It seems silly to be nervous like I am for him to ask, since we both know we're meant to be married. But he hasn't yet, and every day that passes by, I know he's going to ask soon. I feel it in the pit of my stomach.
You want a beer from the back?
Reed questions, gesturing to the other side of the floor.
Hell yeah,
Sill answers, and I nod too. I'm only 18 and Sill's 19, but liquor has always flowed easily for us here. Maybe that's another reason I prefer this place to home. Part of this open space is an expansive kitchen, separated from the rest by a countertop, and there are leather couches, an old coffee table, and a professional pool table on the other end. The rack is on the table next to some chalk, but the cues are hung up because no one's playing right now. A couple of women, 2 friends I've met a handful of times, but I forget their names, sit on the side of the coffee table, leaning forward and talking to Finn and Sill's uncle, Eamon. It didn't take me long to learn everyone's roles. Finn is the treasurer, which seems at odds with his large stature and weight. He's first generation and formed the club with Eamon and Sill's father decades ago. His accent is thick, as is his Irish temper. Eamon is the road captain, but also the enforcer. He's much leaner, and again it seems to go against a natural thought until you see the man in a ring. Sill's uncle loves to tell stories of, back in the day when I was a fighter. If another person walked in right now, they might be intimidated. The room is riddled with leather and tattooed skin. Not everyone gets it, but I do. I'm not afraid. Unlike one of those women, who has a nervous laugh that still hasn't left her. I watch as Finn's brow raises and he leans back. Both he and Eamon are older than the 2 blondes, one platinum, one dirty blonde, both of them gorgeous. The 2 men have always had hangers-on, and it's never sat right with me. I get that they don't want commitment like the others. They don't want old ladies. The term makes me roll my eyes. But seeing women come and go is uncomfortable. It's family dinner, and if they don't intend on them being family, they shouldn't be here. It's not like it's an intimate gathering. There are over a dozen people here already and another 2 dozen or so to come. But still, I've always found his Uncle Eamon a bit disrespectful when it comes to things like that. But as Syl says, they're old school. Which again makes my eyes roll. I start to take off my jacket, but a chill blows in and I think better of it, opting to leave it on even though Syl takes his off. All the windows in the rec room are open. Fresh fall air comes in through the screens. It's early autumn, but already chilly at night. The sun is just starting to set, and through the blinds, it's easy to see it sinking into the woods behind us. Nerves settle through me as Syl's hand parts from mine and he has a hushed conversation with Reed. Tonight's the night we're going to tell our fathers our plans for next year. Any other daughter would probably be excited to tell her parents she got a college acceptance letter. My father, though, doesn't like the idea of me leaving, and lately he's been kind of off. My mother passed 2 years ago, and he's been downhill ever since, falling into the bottle every night. Part of me feels guilty for leaving, but like Syl said, I have to live my life, and I'll show my father it's for the better. I start college in town next fall, and Syl's happy for me. He's proud, even if he'll be staying with the club. After all, it bears his family name, Kavanaugh Crest. He has to because he's vice president of the Kavanaugh East, and this is our home. But we're going to get our own place together halfway from here to State College. The crack of a beer snaps me out of it, and Reed smiles as I look up at him, tipping my head in gratitude. Thanks, I say, accepting the drink with a mock cheers, and he and Syl don't miss a beat to continue their conversation. My gaze filters through the room, but I don't see Missy anywhere, Syl's aunt. She's practically his mother since Syl's mom passed when he was just a baby. She's probably out grabbing a few more things for tonight. I'm restless without her here, telling me what I can do to help. Someone comes down the stairs from the 3rd level, footsteps loud and unself-conscious. It's mostly offices up there on the top floor of the 3-story construction, and a few bedrooms for people to crash if they need them.
Kat's going to college,
Cillian blurts out to Reed.
She got into the pre-med program, isn't that fucking amazing?
His fingers slip through mine again, and he brings my knuckles to his lips, then kisses them. My cheeks flush at the compliment, but I don't have much time to react other than to hug Reed back because my phone is ringing. I hear Reed ask about my father's reaction as I dig out my phone from my pocket. Reed knows how it is, and speak of the devil, my dad's name is on the screen. He's probably on his way and forgot something, or he's running late. He's been late to everything recently. Hey, Dad.
Are you already at the garage?
His voice sounds different than expected. Anxious, maybe.
Yes?
I huff a laugh at him a little. Can't you hear it? It's far too loud in here, and it just got louder with Missy yelling out, "Coming through!" a pan of something in one hand and a bag in the other. It's too loud to hear what my dad is saying. I have to drop Syl's hand. I hate letting go of him, but I'll only be gone for a few minutes. He looks down at me, and I tilt my head toward the stairwell. He bends to kiss my cheek, his rough stubble grazing against my skin, and I catch a hint of his masculine scent that I love. It's woodsy, but fresh like the ocean. Plugging one ear, I make my way through the crowd to the little empty space at the foot of the stairs. Syl watches me go as I try to hear what my father's saying. Something about going somewhere quiet. No shit. I can hardly hear him.
Kat.
My name is nearly a curse, hissed through the phone with impatience. Sorry, Dad, I couldn't hear you. Say that again?
Did you find your mother's mug?
My whole body goes cold with a numbing chill. My mother's mug. I cross my arms over my chest instinctually, hoping I didn't hear those words. The party is still pretty loud, even in here. Maybe I got it wrong. What did you say?
Did you find your mother's mug?
The blood drains from my face, and it's hard to keep my expression neutral. It's our code phrase. It means I'm in danger. We made the phrase before my mom died, and just the mention of her makes my stomach sour. My dad has only used it once before while I was at school. I walked out the front doors without telling anyone and came to the club. Everything was fine, and it was only a test, which I'm hoping he's doing again. Just testing me, even though it would be fucking cruel to do it today. I'm already here, Dad. My voice tightens when I realize that it could be he's the one in trouble. Something might have happened to him.
Is there anyone around you who can hear me?
My gaze lifts and locks with Syl, only a few strides away through the threshold. He mouths to me, "Everything all right?" And I can't answer.
"Cat, answer me,"
my father demands at the same time that Syl motions for me to come back to him. I slip closer to the chaos that is the rec room, but stay just on the other side of the threshold where most of the noise is blocked. Syl looks down into my eyes, keeping me there as he asks in a hushed tone,
"Are you okay?"
All I can do is answer, "No." My father hears me say it too.
"Good,"
he states over the phone. I almost correct him to tell him I'm not alone, and that Syl may be able to hear. Probably everyone else around us too, but Syl takes my phone out of my hand. His expression turns from concerned to serious in an instant. He's silent as he raises his hand. Fear slips down my spine and then over my shoulders, burrowing deeper inside as Syl's expression hardens. Frozen to the core, all I can do is watch. With Syl's hand raised, one by one the room is silenced. One by one their eyes move to the VP, and then to me when they realize it's my phone in his hand. The laughter stops. We're surrounded by his uncle and his dad. They're friends, members of the club. They're all friends with my father, too. They were friends growing up, and now I grew up here. Syl grew up here. That's how we're part of the MC. We belong here. I tell that to myself over and over again. I belong here. I'm safe here. I am. I've always been a part of this club. But as the room goes silent and Syl puts the phone on speaker, careful to mute himself first, I feel the walls caving in. This must be some kind of nightmare.
"The cops are coming,"
my father says into the dead silence of the room. If I wasn't paralyzed with fear, I'd fall over or run. I can barely swallow, let alone move a limb.
"He says the cops are coming,"
Syl says, loud enough for everyone to hear.
"Cat, you're going to be safe when the cops come,"
my dad continues, and I wish I could tell my father he's on speaker. But he would want everyone to know too, wouldn't he? If the cops are coming, everyone here should know about it.
"Just let them arrest you."
My eyes widen in shock, and then my mouth drops open.
"They're going to let you go, but you're going to be arrested for your protection. You understand me?"
Syl's dad, the head of the MC, the president, the man in charge, reaches in for the phone. As I peek up at him, his gaze is filled with a hate I've never seen from him. My hands tremble, and I instinctively take a step back, my shoulders hitting the wall behind me. It takes Syl wiping my cheek to realize there are tears streaming down my face. I don't understand any of this. I barely get out as Syl's father turns his back on us, and everyone in the rec room moves at the president's command. Syl stays in the hall with me, comforting me of all things, and as if on cue, the sound of sirens can faintly be heard sneaking in through the open windows. My heart hammers, and I still can't wrap myself around what's just happened. I know, without my father telling me, there won't be enough time to run. He's giving me this information with only minutes to spare. My dad isn't at the party because he knew this would happen, and he didn't want to risk getting arrested. He's a rat, I whisper, as reality grips me and Syl pulls me in close to his chest.
"It's going to be okay," he says. "I've got you."
Oh, God, how could my father do this? Syl rocks me and kisses my hair, whispering something, but I don't hear it over the pounding of my heart. It's surreal. This is the moment I know everything has changed and there's no going back. For years, I live with this memory. The memory of everything crumbling before my eyes. Even with Syl's arms around me, I knew nothing would ever be the same. I couldn't have imagined what I'd have to live through next. What we'd both have to live through. Cillian said it would be okay, and I wanted to believe him so badly. He promised he'd help me. He'd make it all right. I stood there, trembling as he disappeared into the back of a squad car, with his hands cuffed behind his back, the red, white, and blue lights scattered across the pavement. They thought since he was only 19 he'd get a lighter sentence.
And he might have, if he'd named names. But he didn't give up a single person. He took the fall for the club with a sentence of 10 years, with the chance of getting out early for good behavior. My father ran, but I stayed. And my world changed. Forever. Chapter 1. Cat. Present time. The girl I was at 18 is long gone. After everything that went down, she's a forgotten memory, and the woman I face in the mirror is guarded and reserved. For good reason. In the last 4 years, nearly everyone I've ever known has avoided me at all costs. I suppose I'm lucky to simply be ignored and left on my own. Worse things have happened when crime families excommunicate members. It's partly because I was only 18, Lydia told me. From both of my past families, only one person remained my friend on each side. Lydia, thankfully, told her family to fuck off when they warned her to stay away. No one wants to be associated with a rat. Even if I didn't do it, and it was all my father, I'm guilty by blood. On the other side, the MC, it was Reed who made sure I was all right. That changed, though, so really, I only have Lydia. Just that thought makes my blood run cold. You feeling all right to go in? Lydia, my best friend since we were itty-bitty, pauses outside my house. She dyed her brunette hair a shade darker recently, and the moonlight hits it just right, highlighting a bit of red as her fingers toy with the ends. Her gray sweatshirt is a size too big, making her look even smaller than she already does in those worn black skinny jeans. Feeling all right to go in, I echo, and her deep brown eyes widen as she looks back at me like I'm crazy. With my free hand, I dig the keys out of my purse, ignoring the uneasy feeling. They're always falling down to the very bottom corner, almost like they're trying to get out. Seriously, Lydia presses, a hand landing on my shoulder as she glances from me to my front door. Are you sure you're okay to go in? Yeah, it's fine, I say, and shrug, fiddling with the keys and then dropping every ounce of fear to move forward, regardless. I mean, someone broke in, so it's not fine, she says, emphasizing the words broke in, and waits for me to meet her eyes. I shrug again. I try not to let it get to me. That's the best attitude for moving through life, I've learned. Don't let things get to you, or you could worry yourself sick and find yourself crying every hour of every day. Give yourself a few minutes to feel your emotions and get on with it. Keep your chin up. That's all I could do after everything with the MC fell apart, and it's all I can do now. It's made me a stronger person. Some people might have collapsed under the weight of that life change, and God knows I wanted to. But I didn't. I carried on. Even when my dad vanished into witness protection and left me with nothing, I kept going. I shift the bouquet of flowers in my left hand to the other one as we go up the steps, keys jingling as we go. The benefit of working for the florist just outside town is that I get to take leftovers home on Friday. We're closed on Saturdays and Sundays, and my boss lets me have some of the blooms that look like they might not make it through the weekend. Only the freshest flowers for our customers. This bouquet of white peonies will have a happy home in the mason jar that's centered on the hand-me-down table in the small kitchen-dining room combo. Well, I'm coming in with you, Lydia says, and crosses her arms over her chest as if I'd object. Good, I tell her, and point the flowers at her, pausing with the keys slipped into the lock of the door. 'Cause I have 2 bottles of red that aren't going to drink themselves. Lydia cracks a hint of a smile, but she doesn't let up that the break-in isn't something I should make light of. Swallowing down that thought, I push open the front door and I'm met with the beep, beep, beep of the new alarm system that requires a code I quickly punch in. The moment I hit the little green button, it's silent save for Lydia pushing the front door shut and letting out a sigh of relief. See, safe and sound. The alarm system was a good idea, I tell her, as she looks around like she hasn't been here nearly every weekend since I rented out the place. It's a small house, a little rough around the edges, but with good bones. The inheritance my mom left me was supposed to go toward my college tuition, but that fell through, just like most everything in my life. What did the police say? Lydia asks as we go in, and I toss my keys on the kitchen table, then hang my purse over the back of one of the wooden chairs. Setting the flowers down, I follow Lydia's gaze. She scopes out the house like she doesn't trust it, her eyes wandering from room to room. "You know I didn't call the cops." Lydia stares at me, eyes wide with exasperation. She's silent, though, 'cause she knows that's not something I'd ever do. Her mouth opens and closes with a silent protest, but then they form a thin line. "You ready for a glass?" I ask her, and she reluctantly nods, slipping her bag off her shoulder and draping it over her chair. "Let me just have a look around," she says, without actually asking permission. With my head in the cabinet, snagging 2 glasses, I listen to the old wooden floors creak as Lydia goes about her way. I have everything I need here. A little kitchen, a little living room, a bathroom, 2 bedrooms. It's plenty of room for me, but barren for the most part. I can't imagine what anyone would want to steal. Nothing was taken, but when I came home, the front door was wide open with the small glass panel busted out, answering the question of how the intruder got in. I'm not going to lie, I was terrified at first. That's the only reason I called Reed. I had to. I didn't see anything out of place, and he didn't see anything that made me worry. The alarm was his idea, though, and he had it done in a day. Emotions toss and turn as I remember the way he looked at me, and how I couldn't even look back at him. With a long exhale, I snatch up my glass of wine in one hand, grab scissors for trimming the flowers in the other, and take both to the table. I've spent some time putting the place together. I found the dish towel that hangs on the oven at a thrift store last winter. I liked the look of the owl embroidered on the front, with teal streaks running through it and a floral pattern in the background. I hung new curtains just before the break-in happened. They have a bit of blue in the pattern that goes with the dish towel. I have a teal teapot I'm in love with, and a thick floor mat by the sink that cushions my feet when I'm washing dishes. It's cozy and cute, and I'm sure whoever broke in was sorely disappointed. If only they'd known I was broke and barely making it by. "I still wish you'd called the cops," Lydia murmurs, as she makes her way back into the kitchen, striding right for her glass of wine. "I called Reed," I tell her, as if it's no big deal, but my attempt at a casual tone is anything but. "Did they help you at all?" They. Lydia doesn't say MC, and a chill creeps down my spine. I can't ever think about the club anymore without feeling an empty pit in my stomach. Loss and sadness. They were my family, and I lost almost all of them that night. Reed said he'd look into it for me. And? I shake my head, focusing on tossing the stems of the flowers and not looking her in her eyes. I know there will be questions there, and I'm not ready to answer them. I haven't heard anything. One of the things I love most about Lydia is that she knows when to push and pry versus when to drink wine with me talking about nothing, pretending like it's all okay. "You okay otherwise?" "Yeah." And I really am okay. It took a long time to feel normal after what happened that night 4 years ago, and seeing Reed brought it all back, and then some. "Yeah, I'm fine," I tell her and myself both. It took a long time to stop waking up with tears in the corners of my eyes. I still miss the MC, and I never drive down Cedar Lane just to avoid any thoughts of the garage and the club. I think anyone would miss a group of people who were like a family to them, but I don't cry about it anymore. At least, not much. Lydia sighs a little. "You want a snack?" "You know I do." "Chips?" She's already digging through my pantry like it's hers too. That's how it's been for most of our lives. She's as comfortable in my kitchen as I am in hers. I could sleep in her bed as easily as I could sleep in mine. "You know I'm going to miss this," I comment, and wish I hadn't. I know she already feels guilty about leaving me here while she takes off, living out her dreams. "It's not like I'll be gone forever," she chides, the bag of sour cream and onion chips crinkling in her hands. With an audible inhale, I tell her she better not be. I center the flowers on my countertop and riffle through the pile of mail, grimacing at the bill I've been avoiding, the one stamped red. Oh, fuck it, I'll deal with it on Monday. I toss the mail back onto the counter, feeling free of it. Bills can wait for one more day,
I want to savor this time with Lydia. It's going to go so fast. Why do you have to leave me again? College. Right. I grin at her to cover up the ache in my heart. The whole doing better for yourself and all that, I joke. I laugh at her and she fake laughs back at me until we're both actually laughing. I'm going to miss her so much. She's been the only constant in my life for so long. But it's what's best for her. She's going to be a doctor one day. So, the tone of the conversation shifts with that one word, and I'm on alert again.